tell somebody else about it. I can't keep it to myself, y'all.
How's it going, everyone? This is Mario Silence of Loud Silence Clothing, and with me I have Trent from Orlando. He's actually originally from Jacksonville, but he's a Full Sail graduate, and I want to congratulate him firsthand for getting your diploma from Full Sail.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. It's been
So,
fun.
not many people know I actually attended Full Sail back in '05, and I'm pretty sure it's changed radically from between when I went and when Trent went. So, Trent, tell me a little bit about the experience you had at Full Sail going through the program the last 2 years, because it's changed from when I went. It was just 1 year when I went. Now you have to go for your bachelor's degree, which is what, 2 years, right?
Right. Yeah. That the bachelor program is 2 years. They actually ended up cutting it down just a little bit under 2 years, but
Okay.
I was fortunate enough just to actually make 2 years exact, like 2 years and 29 days. So yeah, but it has changed drastically, but all for the better. A couple of the studios that they actually have was underwent some surgery. Um, One of the studios, Studio A, I think it was, it actually went under another surgery from Darren Schneider. So
Okay.
those who are there now, they are playing with holding toys, holding gear, and from what I was getting from the rest of the my friends there who are still attending, it's pretty much the kid in the candy shop.
All right. Yeah, that's how it was back then.
Yeah, they've they were saying just how much they actually changed, and a couple of like Full Sail alumni, Hall of Fame members and whatnot, they were coming in and basically saying just how much everything ended up changing from
Right.
the studios to the actual layout of the campus itself. So that right there was an experience definitely to remember.
So are they still doing the 24-hour around the clock scheduling? Because that was how it was when I was there. You'd have lab at 5 in the morning till 9 in the morning.
Uh, for the audio world, they would it's not the 24 hour anymore, but you can
Okay.
still have those late hour. Yeah, you can still have those late hour labs.
Right.
A couple of my classes, I didn't get out of labs until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So yeah, but like as far as like stuff for the audio world, yeah, they pretty much not a 24 hour type thing. Like the latest they'll run would be 1 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. Yeah, I remember I would go in from 1 to 5 in the morning, and then I would have a lab at. Sorry, I would have a lab at 1 in the morning to 5, and I have a class at 9 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah, whew, boy, yeah, but they ended up changing like the class lecture times too. They've actually changed a great deal
Okay.
of things. Well, like the lectures for starters. There was one point in time where they were doing them for like 4 hours straight.
Yeah.
The beginning part of the program for us, it was 4 hours, and then like as I'd say probably around my eighth or ninth month, it went from 4 hours to 2 hours, and then
Oh, wow.
yeah, and then 2 hours you basically are doing like your assignments on the FSO platform
Okay.
and whatnot. So they still have the labs at 4 hours, but the lecture they pretty much just cut that time in half. So the other 2 hours that was
Right.
supposed to be for the lecture, you're on your own, so to speak.
Well, that's good because the lecture was the part that you didn't want to be there for 4 hours. That was a pain in the
well,
ass to just be in
well, it
class.
depends. Yeah, it depends on a couple of the lectures on which ones it was. Like for me, the one that was like almost painful for me to stay awake within would probably be the principle of electronics.
Okay.
Very interesting, but some of the stuff is very cut, dry.
Right.
So you really have to, and I had that class within the evening, so I was already feeling sleepy and whatnot. So it was that was it was a challenge. It was fun, but
Right.
that one was a
Now, is that the class that teaches you how to solder and tells you about diodes and things
yeah.
like that?
It was that one, yeah.
Okay.
The continuation of a lot of stuff within physics and pretty much conduction,
Right.
electricity, the diodes, understanding the schematics.
Okay, yeah, I remember that class.
Yeah,
I remember that one. It was hard to stay awake for that one at 9 in the morning when you had been up till 5 in the morning. That was not a fun class.
yeah.
But that's interesting to hear that it went down to 2 hours because then you didn't mind being in the lab for 4 hours since we're real technical and we want to be in the studio. You could be there for 8 hours and be fine.
Right. And man, I could actually be in there for a whole day and not
Exactly.
even realize it. Come out and why is the sun out? It was out beforehand.
Yeah.
What is what is this? Like, yeah, it's but it is one of those things too. You end up going into the studio and you seeing the consoles and all of the gear that they're having, and you pretty much just lose yourself within all of that.
You do, and I agree, you do. And when you graduate from there, you kind of wish you can get back into that scenario real quick. But sometimes you're kind of in home studios for a while until you can get back to a studio of that stature.
Yes, yes, that
So
is so
with
true.
with that being said, studios are closing all the time. I see some in Atlanta, some in Miami. The Hit Factory, the famous Hit Factory in Miami, closed a while ago. Or no, the one in New York.
Right.
And you hear about these big studios closing all the time, and artists are actually working out of their house, out of their hotel room, their tour bus. Where do you see the recording industry going?
As far as the recording industry now, again, since pretty much they're making everything more so like the lines are being blurred between like consumer brands and then the actual professional
That is
brands,
true.
and so many people are actually budgeting wisely just to get that. So I would not be surprised if they actually start doing more like home studio type deals, and just with like all of the DAWs and how they're integrating so many things with like cloud services and whatnot.
Right.
Avid, big example. Although I'm not too much a fan of it, that's the direction that they went in,
Yeah.
and some people like it. Me personally, it has its good sides, but I see just a whole lot more bad within that.
Now, are you
That's,
talking about the leasing option they give you? Because I know you can lease Pro Tools now for
yeah,
like
that,
$25 a
yeah,
month.
yeah, that right there, I think would be a good thing. I think me personally, I think that someone was just jumping on the ball for that because and they may have gotten a bug back into their ear about the price being outrageously high or
Right.
something that no one could afford, and basically just to stay within business and pretty much to stay afloat and just to meet more so the consumer demands, they ended up just doing the subscription base. I think that was a good idea. If it keeps more people from like getting cracked versions of it
Right.
and
Right.
whatnot. So I think that was a good idea.
The other thing that I like that Avid did, because they used to be owned by Digidesign years ago
Right.
before they Avid ended up buying them out. The one thing I do like that they did is that you don't have to use their proprietary audio interfaces anymore.
Oh,
They're
yes.
preamps, so you could go to Best Buy and buy a decent preamp for a decent amount of money and start recording.
Oh, yes. Come on with it, man. Tell me about it. Like, and the funny thing about it, let's see, I have Pro Tools 9 MP, Pro Tools 10. I had Pro Tools 11, but I ended up surrendering it for Pro Tools 12. And right now I'm just with 12.4. I didn't want to go any higher. And just knowing the fact, well, with the Pro Tools 9 MP,
Hmm.
basically that's the last of its kind. So I would actually have to use like the Digi Design,
Right.
or the M box, so to speak, or the M Audio, the mobile pre. That's what it is that I have for that. And then I have the Avid Fast Track Duo for the time being for Pro Tools 10 and 12. But looking into like getting either the Apogee Duet or
Right.
probably the Apollo, and just going from there. And it's crazy, and I'm very thankful that they actually did away with that.
Yeah, because you would have to pay $500-$600 to get an inbox, and that was really the only way you could use the software. And that's kind of where Apple went with Logic, where you didn't need to have a proprietary audio interface, and you could use it with anything.
Yes, they were very smart for doing that. Because now I'm not surprised that going into a couple of studios, professional grade, what have you, and they're using Logic Pro a whole lot more.
Right.
It's good that they jumped onto that before it was too late for them.
Yeah, you could start to see the shift in the market with people going with like a Cubase system, the Logic system, because I have actually converted over to the Logic over the last few years. I haven't been on Pro Tools for a while. Logic's been my baby for a couple of years now.
Yeah. I'm using Logic every now and again, and basically for me, I'm just integrating that between like Machine Studio
Right.
and Logic, just because the tracking capabilities, even though you're able to do it within Pro Tools, it seemed a little bit easier to grasp for when I ended up using Logic
Right.
for that. So
It's gotten a lot better. It used to be really clunky, and it would be harder to figure things out coming from Pro Tools and trying to translate that over into Logic.
yes, I definitely was able to see that as well. Especially with it, as soon as I made it into Full Sail, that was my first time ever being introduced to like the Mac world or
Right.
the world of
Yeah.
Mac. Beforehand, it was just PC all day. Heard good things about Macs, but at the same time, I also knew for me at that point in time, Mac, you're not gonna break my pockets for
Right.
that.
No, it is pricey, but now that I'm on the Mac side, I can't go back to the PC side.
No, I'm still utilizing both. I'm gonna
Okay.
make sure I stay proficient and talented within both. That way, no matter what studio, be it PC, be it generated by PC or operated by PC or Mac, I'm gonna make sure that I stay on top of that.
No, it's good to use both. I haven't used the PC in years, and if I was to get in front of one with a Pro Tools or a Logic system, I would have some time trying to convert back to it.
Be like reading hieroglyphics time.
Exactly. The one thing that I do love that Pro Tools finally started to do was offline bouncing.
Yes.
Because it was a
Oh
pain in
my
the
goodness,
ass
that saves so much time.
having to listen to the entire track just for it to bounce out.
Yes. Oh my God, that saves so much time. I'm like, okay, as much as I love what it was that I've done within this track, just hearing it for an additional
Exactly.
3 to 5 minutes or 3.5, 4 minutes, yeah, that's kind of like an overkill.
That's why I moved to Logic, because Logic had offline bouncing for years, and then Pro Tools, it took them at least 3 years to finally start to do it.
Well, you know what they say, better late than never, right?
Exactly, because it used to be a pain in the ass having to wait 4 minutes for something to bounce out that I had already took 3 hours trying to fix.
Yes. Yeah, I'm just glad that they did that too. Good job, Abbott.
Right. So if somebody came to you, I know it's people have come to me in the past and asked me about it, and I can't really speak to it now. You're more of a recent grad. Someone said, I want to go to Full Sail. I'm interested in becoming an audio engineer. What advice would you give these people?
The advice that I would give for them is to first off have an open mind.
Okay.
Have an open mind about everything. One of the downsides that I ended up seeing with them being there was a lot of people who were, trying to go and take the course basically for their own personal gains. Don't get me wrong, everyone has their own ways and means of doing things and getting around for, but it just seems like for a couple of them, it was basically for selfish needs, so to
Okay.
speak. Not more so for the growth and the learning and basically being able to share and create on a collaborative forefront,
Okay.
most of self. And The other thing that I would end up telling them is everyone has to start somewhere. It's some people who come there and they're pretty knowledgeable of a couple of things, and some people there who wouldn't know that. Well, we'll just say for starters,
Right.
they wouldn't know what a fader is, and wouldn't know what a fader is, what a fader does, and
Right.
it's some people who are just like in between. But no matter what your learning ability is or what it is that you do know so far, just know that you're going to learn more. So if you just have the right attitude for learning, then you can get far.
Right. So when you say some of these people had selfish agendas, could you kind of explain that a little bit further?
All right. So when I was speaking more so on like selfish agendas, it's more so because they end up telling us all the time they're network with people and basically get to know establish relationships with them. Because you never know, you may that person may be somebody to help you out one day.
Right.
But it seems like if someone knows some if someone knows someone who knows a little bit more than what it is, it's like they would gravitate towards them and basically just leech everything that they
I
would
see
know
what you're
of,
saying.
and then basically just disappear into the shadows. So it's that's one of those things within life in general that you just have to be careful and cautious about.
Right.
At the same time, your light's gonna shine regardless. So if you do run into people like that, just be more cognizant of who it is that you associate yourself with,
Right.
and just be around those who are truly like-minded, as you who will want to learn more and to actually grow more so within their passion.
Right. Okay. I get it. Now, when I was there, one thing that I sensed from a lot of the professors over there and a lot of the aura of that place were that hip hop wasn't as respected as some of the other genres. Is it still? Do you still get that notion over there from professors and certain people in the building?
Believe it or not, no, it's a great deal of them who actually have changed around and they are open to
Okay.
hip hop. It's still a few around who feels like it's still a couple of bad things that comes out of hip hop. But I mean, you got to take the good and the bad with everything that you do. Now, as far as like what it is that I've seen personally with a lot of people who deeply affiliate or associate themselves with hip hop, yeah, that right there is a horse of a different color, and it's something that I wouldn't per se want to have myself affiliated with it
Right.
or affiliated with. And it's a lot of people who, or it's a good amount of people within hip hop, and they want to do this, that, and the third, and then when you actually follow up with them on it, you know, they're not to be seen, not
Right.
heard from, giving out budgets for certain things and actually trying to work with them. And for some reason, they still wouldn't have enough to cut it just to, make their
Right.
make their dream and their passion go further, even with you actually trying to meet them halfway.
Okay. Yeah, I remember being there a couple times, and you know, tracks that would come out at the time. Kanye had just came out with College Dropout,
Right.
and I remember being in one of the classes. I can't remember who the teacher was, and I was like, "Oh my god!" The production on it is so good, and he had such animosity towards hip hop, and he was just like, the
Sounds
production.
like
It's not production. That's not professional production. That's not how musicians work, and
yeah,
that sentiment was there throughout a lot of professors' mindsets.
yeah. It was. And again, it's still a few out there who are just like that. But even within that, like if you don't like it, fine, you don't like it. But
Right.
what they ended up gaining out of all of it, and thankfully so. This comes from me, my time in high school and whatnot within bands, so I'm pretty much open to a lot of other genres.
Right.
It's basically, if it's good and it captures your ear, it is what it is.
Exactly.
As long as it's sonically pleasing, that's pretty much all that matters.
I agree.
How it resonates with you or whatever, that's you. It's subjective. So.
I completely agree.